Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. You might be thinking to yourself, especially if you've been watching this channel for a while, didn't I just see him install those headers on that truck? Isn't that what I watched in the last video? And to answer your question, yes you did. It was these headers and it was this truck. But let me go ahead and give you the top like 3 reasons why you shouldn't install these headers on that truck, right? So, 1, let's start with the beginning. These are Summit headers. I'm a big fan of Summit Racing. I buy parts from them all the time. They're like my #1 go-to for parts. These are Summit brand. They looked like they were pretty good. This is all just where the packing paint burned off. These have awesome flanges on them. I mean, you can see right there how thick the flanges are. They went in really fairly easy for shorty headers. However, this is the driver's side, right? And the steering shaft is meant to go on the outside of the first collector and on the inside of the second collector and up through here, and the third collector is just a short one like this, so through there, right? However, if you look here, this, I didn't clearance this, right? This is actually just from my steering shaft rubbing against my header, right? And so it might not look that bad. Yeah, let me see if I can get you a better profile shot to see how deep it goes. So there's the flat spot there. You can't really tell. But it rubbed, and I thought, well, you know what? If I just leave it, it'll self-clearance, right? No. From the moment I did this, it sent a massive vibration through the steering shaft, which made the truck just shake like crazy, uncomfortably so. And then also, because this was against the steering shaft, it actually put enough friction and pressure against the steering shaft that this truck drove like it was without power steering. I don't know how many of you have driven cars that didn't have power steering. Maybe some of the older viewers of the channel know what that's like. But this was like driving a car without power steering. I've driven one before, and that's what this felt like. I thought, okay, if I just drive it enough, it'll clearance itself, right? Because the heat of the header and the friction, that should clearance it. I drove it over 1,000 miles, right around 1,000 miles with that, and it did not self-clearance. So that's what that looks like. I have a similar mark on the header, or on the steering shaft, from where they were rubbing against each other. Second problem with this too is, by the time I got to this, so less than 1,000, right around 1,000 miles of driving, where this first bolt went in, the bolt was actually pushed most of the way out to where I could literally just twist it a couple times and pull it out. This second one was loose enough to where I could pull it with my fingers. It wasn't backed out all the way, but like so. This one had already fallen out. It had vibrated enough to be like force itself out, and the remaining ones actually were all barely finger tight, like so. So a massive problem. And keep in mind, I torqued these to spec when I installed them, so it wasn't like, oh well, you're supposed to blah blah blah. These were all torqued to spec when the headers went in, right? Granted, I know the vibration is going to create this massive problem and blah 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 blah. I get that. The third issue, and it's connected to the fact that the bolts didn't stay in very well. This is the header gasket. Right? You'll notice, those of keen eye, this is not supposed to be open. This, in fact, is supposed to be closed. This one is also supposed to be closed. But in those first 1,000 miles, I actually blew out the cylinder 1 and cylinder 5 header gaskets, not head gaskets, thank God, header gaskets, just by normal driving. It wasn't like I was racing, blah, 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 but blew it out here, blew it out here, right? And these are brand new gaskets. So, between the rubbing, the fact that the bolts don't want to sit, and they actually have very small heads on them. I don't know if you saw in the previous video, but the heads on them are actually very small, so I don't think they actually have enough bite to hold the headers in place. And the fact that it blew the header gasket out in less than 1,000 miles. These are all 3 good reasons why the Chevy S10 does not need to have headers in it. And the side effect too is it actually didn't really change the profile of how the car sounded. I had already done a straight pipe exhaust in the back after the cat, and to be honest with you, these headers didn't actually make it sound any louder or any better. It actually kind of drained the performance a little bit. So yeah, my advice to you, don't install headers. If you are still hell-bent on installing headers like this, make sure before you put them on, you take like a ball peen hammer or something like that, heat up the metal and clearance it. Kind of put a divot in this, a pretty sizable one too, but you can see exactly where the wear pattern was, but right here, like so. And it should work for you. But good luck with all that. I now have the headers off, and I'm not going to clearance this, and I'm not going to put them back on. I'm done with these. So anyway, I want to give you guys an update on that just in case you saw the video and you thought, oh, hey, he can do it. Anybody can do it. Yeah, probably, but you really shouldn't. So thanks for, as always, for watching, and see you in the next one.